baby.
DLC is here.
And back in the fact. Whoa, push it back.
Whoa, that was aggressive.
You know how I do. You know how I do. You know how I do. You know what I'm saying?
It's all good. You know, DLC in the house. What up? It's Drea. How you doing?
You know what I'm saying? It's Lise. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
It's Chloe.
You know.
Yo, Chloe. What up, Chloe? Hey.
I've missed y'all.
I know. I mean, it's only been like
a week. How's it been going?
But it's all good. I'll be missing y'all too.
We just can't get enough of each other.
No. This is true. I'll be like, oh, and then it's funny because, like, even though we saw each other, like, last week on, you know, this Riverside or whatever, but then we still be texting in between, like, literally every day. I don't think there's been a single day.
Every day. I be waking up and I be seeing messages from Dre. I be like, yo, why was you up at, and you in Colorado? I know you an hour behind us, but still, I'll be like, oh, baby, why was you up at 3 a.m.?
Because I don't get off until 12. I'm just up. I'll be up until like at least 2:33. I'll be like, damn it, I need to go to bed.
And by the time I wake up in the middle of the night to kind of like, because I can't sleep all the way through, so I wake up in the middle of the night. Sometimes I have to get up, get me some water, use the bathroom, and I come back, look at my phone, and Drea be bloop, bloop, shooting them off.
Man, and I schedule some too because I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna cut myself off today. I'm gonna save this for when they wake up. I'll be asleep, but I'll answer when I get up.
Sometimes I feel like you be scheduling your memes and videos because you will send them.
I was gonna say
back to back
still. One time, and I thought that was hilarious. I was like, you scheduled? Yes, I sure do. Because I'll be like, all right, I hit him with like 5 in a row. I'm gonna let him breathe for a minute, but I'm gonna keep going. It's too good. I can't let him go. I'm gonna forget about him.
At least spring is
a shame.
Here. I cannot speak for what is happening out there in the Rocky Mountains, but down here in the dirty South, it has been nice and warm.
Beautiful.
I am not used to in March putting on a maxi dress with my flops. Okay, now look who knew we could wear clappers in March. Look, they usually not ready for the clappers until about June.
We've had a couple of really nice days actually. There's been a few days it's been like snow 70 again, and nice and sunny. I know. Then I think it was like 2 days after 70 degrees. Then it was snowy, windy, and rain. But you know, Colorado springtime. That's how we do. I know. That's how y'all live.
It's been in the 80s and in the 90s.
Leaving me. Yeah. It's felt so good being outside in the warmth.
Yes.
Man, I cannot wait. I started walking again. I was like, oh, yay, it's nice enough for me to walk. This is wonderful.
Yeah, I have yet to take a real walk in this heat.
Well, it's different when it becomes humid and 90.
I've been outside,
that's
but
different.
I have yet to experience the real exercising outside in humidity. We ain't made it there yet. We not at that point.
It wasn't bad when we did pickleball last weekend.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. And we was out. It was a hot day, but we was outside all day. I don't know why. It didn't bother me, but when we did pickleball, it was all good.
Okay.
Now, when we did the clothing swap yesterday, it was getting a little hot outside. Yeah, y'all about to get to that time where now everybody's going to be in until like 4 or 5.
The clothing swap is, they do it once a month, the first weekend of every month. I'm like, well, when it gets hot as hell outside, what do y'all do? Y'all still be outside doing this?
Now, what is the clothing swap? Enlighten us.
So, people bring like all their like barely used clothes or new clothes or whatever, and you know, you go outside at this. It's like a coffee shop slash brewery, and you
said that word so wonderfully. I can't say that
brewery.
word. I cannot. Brr. Nope.
But
sorry. Brr. Nope.
Brr. They got all these picnic tables and stuff you can sit outside at, but for the clothing swap, there's a section outside where everybody picks a section, their little designated area, and lay out all their stuff. And it started at 12:30. Before 12:30, you could go around and look and see what's catching your eye. But you can't grab anything until before 12:30. And the lady she ain't playing. She outside like, can't grab anything till 12:30 because somebody tried to take something from us, which we were like, we don't care. But she was like, it's not 12:30 yet. Damn. So what people do if they see something,
police.
Yeah, yes. If they see something they really want, they'll stand there. So we had two people that wanted something we had. This lady wanted these butterfly wings my sister had from Halloween. And then this other girl wanted this printer that I had. And
you took a printer?
Funny. Yeah, and I was like, I don't want
to the clothing swap. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I didn't think.
So wait a minute.
So it's like a flea market.
Is this just a fancy way? This is exactly flea market swap meet.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Girl, that's what it is.
She said the clothing swap. I was like, wait a minute, you said printer.
Well, I mean,
that's a damn swap meet clothes.
Mostly a clothing swap, but I think people use it as an opportunity to get rid of some other stuff.
Hey, I would too.
You.
Yeah,
she said some people.
Clothing swap. Oh, you want this printer?
My sister was like, just bring it to the clothing swap. I was like, okay.
How much you get for it?
You don't buy anything. You just take.
Oh, and then you get. Gotcha. That's cool.
You take what you want. Yeah. So the girl seen the printer. It wasn't 12:30 yet. She was like, "Is that a printer?" I was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "I got it as a 10-year anniversary gift from my job. It's brand new, never used. It's just too damn big and bulky. Like they could have did better than this." So she was like, "I want that." So she stood there until 12:30, and the other lady stood there until 12:30 for the butterfly wings.
Aww.
Which, funny story, I forgot the freaking cord because I was in a rush to get out the house, and my sister came to get me. So I actually met up with her today to give her the power cord.
Oh, that's nice. I'm glad that you didn't just leave her hanging like that. Like you could
go
to the store.
But it's like, what's the point? I want to make sure she's gonna use it. So
true. I
met her at this place called this very bougie, fancy place called the Domain, to give her this power cord. But it was, I didn't find anything I wanted. But
you will.
It was pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff. Maybe next time. We'll see. And now I got somewhere I can drop all my junk that I don't want. But it's a real cool event. I had just got me some beer. It was a cranberita. Yeah, it was a cranberita. Wait, not a cranberita. Oh, crangria, like sangria, but it was a cranberry. Crangria. So I went to the coffee / brewery shop and got me a crangria and was drinking my little crangria while everybody was shopping.
That's fancy.
Yeah, that would have been me.
Yeah, so it's a pretty cool event. It was nice to sit outside and drink while we waited on people to snatch up what they wanted.
That sounds pretty cool though. I would go. Especially if he ain't really paying for nothing. I'd be like, oh, JC would hate if I went though. He'd be like, babe, you don't need none of this shit. No. I would have to have some kind of regulatory.
Too much stuff as it is.
We don't have no space for none of the shit we got.
It is nice though that it's like you give your stuff away, you could take some stuff home if you find something of interest.
That's cool.
Was it packed?
Yes, it ended up being a lot of people there later.
Okay.
Like I said, and people was hanging around like some vultures until 12:30 when they said, "All right, it's time." Snatching up the stuff they wanted.
I sure would be one of them people
that
waiting.
Lady said, "That's a printer."
Yeah, she really did. She really said it like that.
She been waiting.
She really said it. Is that a printer? I was like, "Oh yeah, it's brand new." Oh, I want that. I'm gonna stand here until 12:30. It was like 10 minutes till.
That reminds me off of, so y'all know I've been watching Abbott Elementary. That is my show right now. And this old lady had one of the episodes, this old lady shows up to the school because they were trying to do a drive to get school supplies and having the neighborhood like donate school supplies. So she brings in a printer, this old woman, and she was like, oh, okay, well, we really just needed like, you know, pencils and pens, paper. The old lady was like, you're welcome. And sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Sometimes you gotta plug it in and unplug it. And then as she was walking out the door, she was like, and I just realized I didn't bring the plug. And then she just kept walking. So it's funny that you said you didn't remember to bring the plug for it. But at least you did right by the lady and met up with her later to give it to her. You know, that old lady did not. She didn't come back. It was so funny.
Like, lady, did you want somebody to use it? I guess she didn't care. Her, she was just trying to pawn it off on anybody.
Yep. Oh, the school need a little styling. Here y'all go.
This woman looked like she could have maybe been a college student or something, too.
Oh, yeah, she probably
yeah, so I feel like that's why she was real happy to get that printer. Like, oh, I ain't got to go to the library to do this.
Man, especially a good, like, if it was a big one, shit. She like, all I need is paper? Cool.
Yeah, because I had the ink, too. Brand new ink.
Look at you.
You were a blessing to her.
Blessing somebody else.
I know, right? I know.
Blessings on blessings.
She said, I know.
Kudos to me for being picky, because I want that nice little small sleek quiet printer that my sister has. She said she only got it for $30. I was like, I can go buy me a new one for $30 instead of having that big ass bulky one that she wanted to give me. It takes up like half the space on my desk. No.
That's funny.
Now wait a minute, where did your sister get a printer for?
For real, I was like, which brand is this?
I forgot where she said she got it. I wonder if she got it on a sale, because it was an HP printer too.
Yeah, it had to be.
Okay.
But either way, if it's more, it's worth the price. That's a nice printer. And it's very small.
Okay. That's how you know we getting old when we get excited about stuff like that.
I know, right?
About my cleaning supplies.
You get exactly cleaning supplies and appliances, printers.
I know, it's sad as hell when I be like, y'all, I'm thinking about this toaster oven.
Look, how big is it? Because I like toaster oven.
Right, or that 2-sided air fryer that you got. I'm like, I'm gonna get that next.
Oh yeah, girl. Look, Ninja Foodie, what's good?
Hey.
That dual-sided air fryer is the business.
Yeah.
Cook 2 things at once.
Ooh, fancy.
And it has all type of different settings. Like you can air fry in one, you could do like baking in the other, and then it has a little smart finish. So that way they both sync and finish at the same time.
What?
Like, girl, you can pause it and shit. Yeah, Ninja Foodie, it's worth the price.
Hell yeah.
How big is yours? I had a Ninja Foodie,
10 gallons.
but it was gigantic.
It's a 10, so they have it as an 8 and a 10. I got the 10.
Okay.
Because I cook all the time.
I don't want that big, huge one because it took up too much counter space. I was like, you can keep it, Mom.
She a minimalist.
It's an 8.
You're a minimalist, because I'd have been like, hell yeah, give me that big ass shit.
Yeah. Because it's two full size baskets. It's not the.
Oh, you have a basket.
Like the small one.
Mine looks like the
it's dual zone.
Rectangular one. Is that what yours looks like?
So it's still like rectangular, but you've got 2 baskets that come out from the front side. You pull them out, and that's why it's dual zone, because it has different heating elements in both sides.
Oh, I think mine was different.
Yeah,
but it was a Ninja. It was just too big.
They have a lot. They got a lot of different air fryers, so you probably the 8 gallon probably might be too big for you too. But I don't want a big one. The 10 gallon is what I got.
And I think you're right, Drea. I think I am a minimalist.
I think so, because all you've been saying is taking up too much space. I'm like, yeah, you minimalist.
Okay, you've been giving stuff away.
I hate it. I did not know that I was this person, but I said I wanted to be a minimalist, and I'm actually doing it. Mm-hmm. So I'm so glad, because I don't have a lot of junk in my place, and everything's quite organized. I'm shocked with myself.
Well, yeah, I looked at your closet because you in there now. I was like, bitch, all right. You better keep it organized.
Yes. It's nice. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it's going to get even more organized. I ain't even finished it.
I said mine would get organized, but I keep looking at it like, ooh, bitch, no. It's be coming out of hand. I got to start throwing some shit away.
Throw it all away. It feels good, I promise.
No, but some of it I actually do use, though. I feel like, fuck, but I don't use it enough. You know, I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
You'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. Sometimes in the moment, I'll be like, and then I think about it, and I'm like, I'm not going to miss this later. I'm not even going to think about this. I haven't been thinking about it all this time. I have it. Mm-hmm. Chuck it. Bye.
Right. It's true. It's true. But, anyway.
Let's get into it. Why? Look, Chloe, how you been?
I got a meeting in the ladies' room.
Hey.
Meeting in the ladies' room.
I'll be back real soon.
Be back real soon.
You know, I've been good. You know, dealing with my usual lady problems. I don't know where to start with this. But
okay, so for people who don't know what's going on with your lady problems, specify a little bit. What exactly do you struggle with?
So, let me start with what I have struggled with, which I have struggled with fibroids, which I found out about in late 2017. And if you don't know what fibroids is, they're non-cancerous growths in the uterus that can develop during a woman's childbearing years. The cause of fibroids isn't well understood. Risk factors include a family history of fibroids, obesity, or early onset of puberty. So, like, every doctor will tell you, like, we don't know what causes them. So that's super annoying and kind of infuriating because, you know, somebody's not putting in the research to figure it out.
Right.
But hey.
Yet it's so common.
Yeah, and the common symptoms are pain areas in the abdomen, lower back, or pelvis, menstrual symptoms like abnormal menstruation, heavy menstruation, irregular menstruation, painful menstruation, or spotting. Also common is abdominal distension or cramping. My symptoms, personally, when I first started finding out about them, I noticed that, and this is like probably around the time I turned 30, I started noticing my cycles have gotten longer. Like, they used to be like maybe 4 days at the longest. They started lasting an entire 7 days. And it was 7 days of heavy bleeding instead of only having a couple days of heavy bleeding. And 7 days of cramps instead of having cramps on like the first day or two. So I was like, what's going on? I've never been like a big taker of birth control, but I was on one at the time. Because, you know, they mask all the symptoms with birth control. That's how I got on birth control in the first place ever in my life, even though I've never stayed on it long. But I went to the doctor. I was like, yeah. Yeah, I was like, maybe I need a different birth control. And she was like, let's get you an ultrasound and make sure it's not fibroids or something. And that's exactly what it was. So it was like, well, thank God.
Well, at least she had the wherewithal to check for that, because I feel like a lot of folks just dismiss that.
Yeah, and she was my PA. I loved that lady. I've been seeing her for years. But so then they only saw, I think, like 4 or 5 at that time. The biggest one was 5 centimeters, and then the other ones were about 2 and 3 centimeters. But when I'm not going to go to that part yet. They did try me on a birth control, though, to see if they could help my symptoms. But she did say, you know, you're probably, the gynecologist she referred me to, like, you're probably going to need surgery to get them taken out if they're bothering you this much. And one of them was a pretty good size, which was that 5 centimeter one. So I was like, okay. So she put me on a birth control to try and get me to stop bleeding, because I got to a point where I wouldn't stop bleeding. And tried it. It worked for like maybe a week, and then all of a sudden I started bleeding again. But it was going on like 2 months that I kept bleeding heavily.
Oh shit! Straight
every day.
2 months.
2 months, and I still had cramps like every day.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, Lord.
And Lisa, you remember how depressed I looked. Like, I was still going to work and everything, like, every day. And I went to...
I remember. You were so sad.
Yeah, I went to a male review show with Lisa. You know, the one we took you to, Drea, for your bachelorette party.
Yes.
But that was before the bachelorette party, right?
Yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah, that was the first one. Yeah.
And you and Eileen were having fun, and y'all were looking at me like, are you okay? Well, I had no idea. I was like, yeah, why? They're like, y'all were like, you don't look like you're having much fun.
Oh.
Like, oh, yeah, I'm having fun. But I feel like I was just like that all the time. Like, oh, yeah, I'm fine.
Well, damn.
Yeah, because we was like, look, we see this dangling swinging, and you did not care.
She's like, I'm over here in my corner.
Meanwhile, we was like,
You're so stupid.
Felt like I was having fun, but I now I see on the outside from what other people could see was just kind of like, she does not look like she's enjoying herself.
Right.
Which, you know, on my mind the whole time is, okay, let me go to the bathroom and change my, you know, my things, because I'm bleeding like crazy. So that was like my life 24/7 for those months. But we did decide on me having surgery. So let me go over the treatment.
So hold on, before you go over that, I want to know how long it was from diagnosis to deciding to have the surgery. Like, how long did this whole process take?
I actually think maybe, honestly, it might have only been a few weeks.
Oh, damn.
And then
really?
my surgery was scheduled out like a month. And that whole time I was just like bleeding and stuff. I think when I wouldn't stop bleeding was when she was like, oh no, we have to do this surgery. At first it was kind of like, if you want to do surgery, but then it got to the point where she was like, no, you need to do this surgery. You can't stop bleeding. We got to get these out of you.
Yeah.
So my only option was a myomectomy, which is a surgical removal of fibroids. So they basically do like a C-section cut, take out your organs to get to your uterus.
Oh shit.
And do what they got to do to remove them. The other options are laparoscopy, which is an operation performed in the abdomen or pelvis using small incisions with the aid of a camera. And unfortunately and sadly, like before the myomectomy and the laparoscopy were even options, they would just have women get hysterectomies.
Take out the whole shit.
that was like their go-to.
That was their go-to, and they didn't know any better. And so, you know, there's been so many women from the past that never got to have kids because the option was a hysterectomy. It really didn't have to be.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, it's very sad. So I was like, well, thank God it happened to me, you know, after things advanced. But unfortunately, I feel like I'm on these Facebook pages about fibroids, and some women, you know, everybody voices their concerns on there and stuff, and some women are like, well, my doctor said I need to get a hysterectomy, and people are like, hold up, you need to go see another doctor. Because it doesn't sound like that should be your only option right now.
That should be the last option if you're, especially in childbearing years.
Yes, should be the last option. But my myomectomy was the best decision of my life. For one, never had 2 months off of work in my life. That was beautiful. It was
Took my time, bitches.
The first couple days really sucked because I could feel, it was like I could feel my stomach hanging from my body, and I could see the, you know, the incision was like stapled and glued, and I just thought my stomach was going to come apart, and it was kind of scary to see that part.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I was just very careful, pretty much laid around all the time.
Well, yeah, you can't lift anything and nothing.
Can't lift anything. But it was very painful the first couple days. And I think because, you know, in the hospital I spent about 3 days. They think you're going to spend maybe average 2 days, but I couldn't get my bodily functions working as normal, so I had to stay like an extra day.
Dang.
But when I got home, because they gave me Percocet at the hospital, when I got home and took that oxycodone, and it was like the smaller, I think, dosage, 5 milligrams. My mom
500.
Five milligrams. My mom was taking care of me, and I took like half of one to start. And she gave me one, went to the grocery store to go get some food and stuff. I was hallucinating.
Oh. You ain't gonna be the ones to worry about.
No, I was so scared because I couldn't keep my eyes. I've never felt so tired in my life. Like, I couldn't keep my eyes open, but I just kept hearing footsteps run toward me, and I was like, nobody else is in the house.
That is not okay.
I just kept waking up like, then my eyes was like, I'm like, I can't stay awake. And I called my mom. I was like, can you please hurry up and come back? I keep hearing footsteps in the house and nobody else is here.
Poor baby, that's a bullshit.
Like,
in the house.
Like, I'm never taking this again.
You was freaking out.
I was freaking out. So the rest of that time, I only took 800 milligram ibuprofen for my pain. But I did so much good sleeping. Like I said, it wasn't fun getting the surgery, but the sleep that I got
and the rest that I got, needed. You obviously needed that rest.
Yeah. Never, ever, ever had that in my life before, and it was a beautiful thing. But
were you anemic because of all the bleeding?
No, surprisingly.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought maybe I'd be, but they checked my iron levels and all that, and it was normal. So, but it doesn't compare to what I go through now. So now, before I get there, I did have a couple smaller fibroids come back. They've seen like 2, which are on the smaller side, like 2 centimeters. They've just been monitoring them, and they haven't really grown much. And I really, really feel like the cause of them for me was stress. Because I was stressing out a lot at this job, and all of a sudden, that's when things started changing. And then after I got them removed, I had another stressful period, and then they were back, and I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure stress is probably what has caused them for me, which some people speculate stress as being a cause, and I truly believe that now. I feel like my stress has been relatively low, and maybe that's why they've not been growing the way that they did before. Which before, by the way, I found out that I was in so much pain because one of them was dying off. Like, it turned gray, and she was like, oh, that one was dying off. She's like, those are usually really painful. So she was like, you must have a high pain tolerance because those are super painful. And I was like, wow, interesting to know.
She said, warrior. Yes, girl. She's been fighting through this for God knows how many years. I would consider you that too. Sure.
Girl, look, I'm a warrior after dealing with this other problem. The fibroids wasn't nothing compared to this.
So this now, give us a timeline where you are, where the fibroids came back.
So the fibroids, I went back to the doctor in 2020, and they saw a couple more. Okay. But they say, at least the lady that did my ultrasound, she said, I don't really feel like they more grow. She said, I feel like you just had probably some that were too small for them to see when you had your surgery, and those grew.
Gotcha.
So I was like, okay, that makes sense. But yeah, that was 2020. Beginning of 2020, some time period later on in 2020, I started having a whole other issue. I started feeling like when I was having my periods, and literally after my fibroid surgery, I didn't have menstrual cramps anymore at all. And my periods were only 3 to 5 days long. But no menstrual cramps whatsoever. I didn't even need ibuprofen, nothing. Not an issue any longer. But then somewhere in like the middle of 2020, I think that changed. Which I didn't get like the normal menstrual cramps that you would feel kind of like in the front and stuff.
Yeah.
What I started having was this like intense pain, like an intense rectal pain. And I was like, what in the heck is going on?
You got the shooty booty.
Yes, it was horrible. Like the pain was
the
so
shooty booty.
Wait a minute.
The shooty booty.
Got that from
that just sounds all the way
really
wrong.
Sorry. It just reminds me of my mom. She'd be like, them shooty booty, don't do it.
I didn't have the shooting booty trail.
Well, you got a shooting pain up your booty, didn't you?
I really did. It was awful.
So it's a shooty. It's a different kind of shooty booty.
Different kind of shooty booty.
And this started in 2020?
Yeah, like probably about the middle. Yeah, because
like
we started working from home in April, and it wasn't an issue while we were in the office. So it started happening sometime in like the middle of the year.
So it's kind of a blessing that quarantine happened, because I could only imagine having that kind of pain in an office where you have to be around folks.
Oh, I wouldn't have made it.
The bathroom seems so far away.
Yeah, for real. No, ma'am.
I would not have made it to the office because the pain was so debilitating. There's a couple times like my legs almost gave out on me and I almost fell trying to walk. And it became a pattern where I would just start getting up in the morning. One day I had days like that at like 6, because I worked at 7:30, so I'd get up at like 6 a.m., go lay in the bathtub, maybe like 5 a.m., go lay in a hot bath, take me ibuprofen, and then that would help me feel a little bit better. But I was like, I need something stronger. Like, this ibuprofen isn't even helping me anymore. So then I was like, oh, I still have my oxycodone from when I had my fibroid surgery. Let me try this. And it was expired. It was 3 years expired.
Yeah.
Still had that.
Look, that's how we know you was feeling bad, to where you felt to take this hallucinogen.
It's my only option. Shit.
Right.
And I took it, and like it worked like the first couple of months, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is helping me so much. But then that stopped working.
So the oxycodone stopped working.
Ibuprofen didn't really help. The only thing that would help for the most part was a hot bath. Like, heat therapy.
Yeah.
I get in that bathtub and I'll burn my feet. I didn't care.
Damn.
So yeah.
She said, make that shit hot.
That is how.
Look, because you know how it be when you try to get in that bath water and you be trying to put the extra cold water in there just to help cool it down.
I was like, no.
Close to F that. I'm getting up in here scorching.
Yes. I'm surprised it didn't burn my skin. I was like, ooh, goodness gracious.
Oh, no.
But that's how much it feels good when you're in that kind of pain. But I started going to the doctor trying to figure out, okay, what is this now? So this is where it gets quite frustrating. But thank God I've been an advocate for my own health. And at first I kind of blamed the doctors. I was like, oh my gosh, like they all suck. Like they don't care. They're not trying to figure out what's wrong with me. But then later on I realized that the issue that I'm having, a lot of gynecologists just aren't trained to know much about it and to even know how to identify this issue. So I went to my same one that did my surgery. She said, I thought maybe it was fibroids again. She was like, no, like, I really don't think it's fibroids. They're really small. They shouldn't be bothering you. She's like, I don't think that's it. So I ended up going to a gastroenterologist, and I got a colonoscopy. Everything was normal. She didn't see anything abnormal. I'm like, okay. So then I was like, I'm going to find another gynecologist. So I looked at the reviews, found this guy that had like some really great reviews, and he was old, so he'd been in the business for a long time.
He was old. She said this. And he
done seen some things.
Older, like Christian doctor, really sweet man. So he had me get these tests done, like an MRI, and he saw that. What did he see? I think he said he saw anal adhesions. So I was like, okay, which I think it was supposed to be scar tissues, but he was like, that's not really my area, so I'm going to send you to this gastroenterologist in Denver. So I was living in Colorado Springs. I had to drive about an hour away to Denver to go see this other doctor. But thankfully, he was nice enough to prescribe me some oxycodone because I had ran out of the expired ones.
That you shouldn't have been taking no way.
He gave me...
Look, you probably one of the first people to say, I'm so happy. Look, certain folks, they be like, wait a minute, why is she so excited? We should probably cut her prescription off.
And they'll never know until they feel that kind of pain.
Yeah.
So he was nice enough to give me 20 of them, because now they're not allowed to prescribe you any kind of narcotics like that unless you've had surgery. And I see these women on Facebook complaining. They're like, what are we supposed to do? Yeah. Like, no over-the-counter medicines help. These prescription ibuprofens don't do anything. And they're not lying. They don't put a dent in my pain at all. It's like I'm taking them for no reason at this point.
All right, just hurting your liver.
They don't work. So it got to the point where I was just like, okay, I'm just going to take an edible and have it help me get to sleep so I can just sleep through the pain.
Hey, look at God in the marijuana. All right.
Seriously, though, that was like the only thing that would be...
Well, we all enjoy us a little edible.
Right? That hot bath and the edible. Like, hot bath helped with the pain some. The edible to get me to sleep so I could finish sleeping through the pain. By the time I wake up, I feel great.
Damn.
So I got to the point where I was taking a lot of time off work, like a couple hours here and there to log off and take naps and stuff and wake up and feel a little better and finish out the day. And I was so grateful for the work from home so I could do that, and to have a great supervisor that would work with me, because he's like, at least you're not... I think that, upper management wouldn't have a problem with that. You're still working. You're not taking the whole day off. Mm-hmm. So I don't see that being a problem. So he was really great for that. But anyway, so I go see this gastroenterologist in Denver. And of course he had to run more tests. I was like, oh my gosh, they got to run more tests before I could figure anything out. So I had to do this other MRI. It was like a special MRI, where they put this gel in your body and you had to basically push it out like you're having a bowel movement so they could see what's happening inside. And so
they made you shit on the MRI?
No, you don't shit.
You swallowed the gel?
No,
they inserted
They had to insert the gel
wound.
vaginally and anally.
Oh.
And so what you had to do was bear down like you're having a bowel movement.
Oh.
Wow.
So that they could see what's happening in there.
I ain't never heard of this.
When maybe you're trying to use the bathroom or something.
I'm sorry.
So what he saw and the results was I wasn't... And the worst thing about it was I had to do it while I was on my period. So I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to even make it up there? I feel like I'm going to feel like I'm dying. And then he wants me to bear down, because a big part of the issue I was having was anytime I tried to use the bathroom, I was spasming back there. And literally, like, my rectum was like pushing out as far as it could go on its own. Like I couldn't control it. And using the bathroom became a very traumatic experience.
Yeah.
So I was really scared about having to go do this MRI on my period and having to bear down like I'm using the bathroom. Like, bruh, how am I supposed to do this? But anyways, luckily I was okay. But what he saw in the results was that I wasn't completely emptying out when I used the bathroom, and my pelvic muscles were dropping.
Oh, they were prolapsing a little bit.
And that's what he made it kind of sound like maybe I had like a rectal prolapse. And I legit thought that I had that, even though there's like nothing hanging out, back there.
He ain't got stuff it back up. Just
look,
yeah,
okay, because I was like, wait a minute.
There was nothing hanging out back there, so I legit thought that was what was wrong with me. And he said the only option is for you to fix the permanent fix for that is for you to get this surgery, for me to have to go inside and tack your rectum up to keep it from dropping. And I was like, okay, but he was like, I don't want to start with that though. So he was like, for now I'm going to recommend peppermint tea, and if that doesn't work, you can call me for some other medication. I can't remember what it was, but I got to that point. It didn't do shit for me. But when I first started the peppermint tea, I was shocked because I was like, oh my gosh, like my pain is significantly less. So I thought this was the fix until it didn't really work anymore. But legit, when he told me peppermint tea though, I did want to cry. I almost cried in his office. Like, this is it? This is your only solution?
Right, especially because you've been going through this for some years now.
Yes. So when I tried the peppermint tea, I was very pleasantly surprised at how much it worked, though. And what I found out, which is what he told me, but I learned more after getting the peppermint tea. A lot of people with IBS use that. It helps relax, the pelvic muscles and stuff inside. So that was his solution for me at the time: peppermint tea and magnesium citrate to help me use the bathroom with ease. So
that's my little go-to right there.
Girl.
I take it on vacations. You be needing it.
So
regular. Keep it regular.
I was just like
regular,
cannot. So I was like, I'm gonna move to Texas now, so I don't know what you guys want me to do, because I don't know. So I moved to Texas, and I was like, all right. As soon as I got here, I was like, let me find me a doctor, because I can't like, what I was thinking was, let me find me a doctor to do that surgery that the other doctor was talking about. So I do my research, call some doctors. They weren't taking any more patients. I find this female gastroenterologist, and I scheduled with her, but she couldn't get me in for like 2 months. So I was like, no. So I found another doctor that was in like the same, something similar like practice as him or whatever. And he was 36 years old, which is the same age as me. So I was super worried. I was like, I don't know how I feel about seeing a doctor this young. Like, is he gonna know what he's doing? But I was like, his reviews were relatively good, so let me just go see him. So I go see him, and then he tells me some stuff I haven't heard from any of these other 4 doctors that I saw. And what he said was, I think, he's like, for one, you don't have rectal prolapse. He's like, I got a second opinion from one of my colleagues. They absolutely do not see that. He's like, you don't have anything coming out of you. Like, that's not it. And that surgery is only needed for that. That would not have been the solution. So he's like, what I think you have is either endometriosis or pelvic floor disorder. No one recommended either of those before. So I was like,
After all these years.
Well, I won't say all these years. Maybe after a year and a half. But still
with it, when you're in consistent pain, since what, 2019?
2020. Well, that was fibroids. This current problem started in middle 2020.
Still, that's a long time.
It is. It's a long time to feel like you're giving birth every month. Yes.
Yeah.
But
giving birth out your butthole, yes. I know that feels, because that's worse.
Horrible. So I started looking up the symptoms for both, and I was like, I don't know if I think I have endometriosis. I think it might be pelvic floor disorder. But either way, he sent me to a gynecologist here in Austin that specializes in endometriosis. And apparently there's only 300, I think it was 300 specialists for endometriosis in the country. So yeah, not a lot of doctors, especially not a lot of gynecologists. Like, a lot of them don't even know how to identify endometriosis or anything. So now I understand why it was so hard to figure out what was going on with me. So he sent me to this doctor. I saw his nurse practitioner. She said, based on everything I'm telling her, based on what she's seeing, she's like, I think you have endometriosis. I was like, great, okay. So then I spoke to the doctor a couple appointments later on a video chat, told him what was going on. He said, what you're experiencing sounds exactly like endometriosis. I'm like, okay. And I watched his 2-hour, they sent me a 2-hour video on endometriosis of his on YouTube, where he's talking about, it's like a lecture / forum. So he's showing video of him doing these surgeries, explaining what's going on, explaining what happens when you have endometriosis. And then he had some patients there that he had worked on that talked about their issues and then how they felt after the surgery and everything. But he is such a good doctor. Like, I truly feel like it was a blessing, me moving here, for me to find that gastroenterologist, and then for him to get me on the right track of what's going on, and then for him to send me to this doctor who has a 4.9 out of 5 on Google. And that's out of over 100 reviews.
Nice.
Like, he truly knows his stuff. And it's funny because I'm in this Facebook page for some women of Austin, and some woman asked about a good gynecologist because she didn't like the one she had. And some girl was like, oh, I have Dr. so-and-so. He actually helped me have a baby. It's the same doctor that I'm seeing.
Whoop, whoop.
So,
oh, wow.
Awesome.
What I have to do is get, basically, they call it exploratory surgery. Like, I'm not completely diagnosed with endometriosis yet, but it sounds like we're pretty sure that's what's going on with me. So, when they do the surgery, if they see endometriosis, they're going to remove it. So let me give an explanation of what that is. So endometriosis is a disorder in which tissue that normally lines the uterus grows outside the uterus. With endometriosis, the tissue can be found on the ovaries, fallopian tubes, or the intestines. So the issue I'm having is probably on my intestines. Symptoms, common symptoms are pain areas in the lower abdomen, lower back, pelvis, rectum, or vagina. Pain circumstances can occur during sexual intercourse or while defecating. Menstrual, you have abnormal menstruation, heavy menstruation, irregular menstruation, painful menstruation, or spotting. And then gastrointestinal, constipation or nausea, and then abdominal fullness or cramping. Also common, infertility. So one thing I noticed, one issue that I have, and after doing more research and learning more about endometriosis, I kept noticing, because I'm like, let me be real, I already had a fat stomach. But I started noticing that my stomach would look huge and very round and feel very hard, and I looked pregnant. And then doing more research, a lot of other women have those, like, you'll see these little skinny girls and they're looking like 6 months pregnant.
Oh, wow.
Because you get really bloated and it gets really tight. And I think that has to do with, basically, they recommend you stay away from all inflammatory foods. So that's
the good stuff.
Huh?
You can't eat the good stuff anymore.
You really can't. Like, every time I try to eat something I ain't got no business eating, I'm so bloated. I'm so uncomfortable. I can't even fit that much food in my stomach. I don't even have to eat much, and I get like that. But now it's all making sense about what's been going on with me. So I do have the surgery scheduled for August, but in the meantime, I have pelvic floor therapy, which they said I would need that regardless. So that's helping me in the meantime. And then I did decide on getting on birth control, and then that's been helping me pretty much be pain-free and feel like a normal person again.
Yay.
So it's just really crazy what's going on, but
I'm sorry.
Who would have thought that getting back on birth control would have taken the pain away? Because I wonder if that would have helped you back in like the 2020 time frame when it first started and whatnot. Because is this the first time of you being back on birth control now at this point in life?
Yes.
Throughout everything that's been going on? Oh, okay.
But I'm glad it happened the way it did, because I'm like, had I just gotten on birth control back then, there would have been no figuring out what the actual problem was. And then it would get to the point where probably I'm trying to have kids or something, can't have kids. And then it's like, okay, now they got to figure out why I can't have kids. I know what's wrong with me right now. So glad that I went through all that I did so I can figure it out now.
Right.
Instead of just getting on birth control to mask the problem and not actually figure out what was going on. So,
Girl.
You know, I feel like these doctors use birth control to mask things quite often. And I'm glad I've been refusing it for so long. And at this point, I've only gotten on it to help my symptoms now that we're on the right track of knowing what's wrong with me up until I get my surgery. So, it's been a long, painful, emotional journey. I can say I've never experienced any sort of pain like this in my life. Like some of those women on the endometriosis Facebook page I'm on, those that do have children say that this was worse than childbirth.
Damn.
And so we experience this kind of pain on a monthly basis. So by the time I do have a kid, I guess I'm gonna be all good, cause
girl, you ain't gonna need no epidural.
Right.
You ain't gonna need no med. Look, did you ever watch the Kardashians?
Yeah, back in the day.
Remember when Courtney had? Trust me, I don't remember which one it was, but when she was giving birth and she just pulled her baby out.
Gosh, yes. I was just like, did she just do that?
Girl, that's gonna be you.
Pulled it out.
Yep.
The doctors were probably like stunned themselves. Like, we've never seen anybody do that.
Right, like, well.
That's gonna be Chloe. Chloe baby gonna be like, hello. She gonna be like, girl, come up out of here. Come see me.
Like, it will probably be, like, that's how bad the pain is. I'm like, holy, like, literally I was laying in the bed one day. I got to the point where hot bath wasn't even helping no more. Man, I laid in the bed for 3 hours, tossing and turning and cringing and sweating, feeling like I was having intense contractions back there for 3 hours. I couldn't even get to sleep. I just had to feel that pain until it stopped.
I'm sorry you had to go through all that. That's just so torturous.
It's pretty bad.
It is.
I can honestly say I haven't felt any other pain that compares. No other. But I'm just glad we're finally coming to a solution. I tell people about it, what's going on, because I feel like now I've noticed more and more women are sharing stuff like this, because women have suffered for years and years with issues like this, not knowing what's going on. Like, endometriosis takes 8 to 10 years. The average diagnosis is 8 to 10 years.
Fuck that shit.
I got lucky because I kept going to the doctors like, nope, I'm not giving up until I figure out what's going on, because I can't keep handling pain like this and having it affect my work life and my personal life and my social life. But yeah, average 8 to 10 years. You know, they say a lot of women have been accused of the pain being in their head just because doctors can't figure out what's going on. And I'm like, if anyone ever told me that, I would absolutely want to kill them. This pain is not in your head.
It's such a gaslighting thing to do too. Oh, don't worry, you're just feeling it in your brain. It's
like, it's
really
all in your head. Like, this kind of pain, there's no way this is all in somebody's head. Like, come on now. But I'm just so glad that I was an advocate for my own health and got it figured out sooner than what some others have had to deal with. Like, I've seen women on that Facebook page say that they have been dealing with this stuff for years until they finally got a doctor that would listen to them and was able to get them a diagnosis.
Well, I'm proud of you for sharing your story, because again, by you speaking up about it and sharing that you advocated for yourself, hopefully that will make more young women feel like they need to do the same. Probably going through the same symptoms and things that you are, that may not have been told by a doctor that they have endometriosis or pelvic floor dysfunction. So it's one of those things where they might be like, you know what, I'm experiencing the same thing that Chloe was. Let me go ahead and tell them, see if they can look into this for me. Maybe I need to look into the same specialist or something along those lines. So keep sharing your story.
Yeah, like you
How much time before you have your surgery?
It's in August, which it's gotten scheduled like a couple months back. So even when I got told like, oh, we can't get you in until August, I felt like, oh my God, I gotta wait this long. I gotta deal with this much longer. But like I said, that's what finally got me to decide, like, okay, I think I'll see if the birth control will help. And thank God I did, because it's helping me get through. No more pain. I'm so glad I did it. But yeah, I just like to share, like I see a lot of women do today, share their stories to help others, because this is truly the type of debilitating pain to where if I had to deal with this for years and years, I don't know if I would be here anymore. Like, I am not suicidal, but I can see someone getting to that point.
Yeah. That's so heavy, man. I'm so thankful that you didn't feel that. Like, I know there were times when you would tell us how emotional you were getting, because you would be waiting to hear back from the doctor and how frustrated you were with this whole process. So I'm thankful that you weren't considering the other options, just giving up, you know, because I could see that too if you're giving childbirth every month, how defeating that could feel, you know. So I'm glad you're fighting, and I'm glad that you're finally starting to feel some relief, because man, it's been a long time coming, bitch.
I'm just thankful I haven't had to suffer as long as some of these other women I'm seeing, and they've expressed like feeling like they don't even want to be here anymore.
And that's a shame. That irritates my soul that people have to fight. I mean, you do have to be your own advocate, but it just pains me that people don't know that they have to fight this hard to be your own advocate for your own health, you know, because some people aren't as strong as you, frankly. Like, I mean, not saying that they're not strong dealing with what they are, but they're maybe not as, what's the word I'm looking for, expressive. Like, no, something's not right, and having enough conviction to keep going, keep checking. And thank God you didn't have nobody's prolapse, anal, whatever it is, surgery.
Thank God.
Man.
Girl, because that just sound all the way
right. And I'm mad he went straight to surgery and not to pelvic floor therapy, because that sounded crazy to me. No.
Well, I am thankful that he was like, I don't want to go immediately to surgery. Well, thank God, because it's not even surgery I needed, sir.
I need him to check his facts. But I mean,
right?
Look at God.
Hey, he gave you peppermint. Right, for real.
I want to go back to all them doctors and be like, I can tell you what's wrong with me now if you want to know.
And you might want to do that, honestly.
You might want to
write a letter. Write them a letter.
That's 1, 2, 3, 4 doctors I gotta write a letter to.
Write the same letter. Be like, excuse me, at all. Everybody that's treated me in the past has like, you might want to do a little bit more research on endometriosis, because this and this is very indicative of the condition. So maybe you want to do a little bit more research. This is what it was for me.
Right? Like, in case you have
maybe
any other
patients.
Maybe
go to a medical conference, okay? And brush up on your skills, because it should not, honestly, think about it. It's because you moved to a bigger state, bigger city that has a better health system, more specialists. It truly worked out in your favor to where, and you know what? Shout out to the young doctor, because you was a little skeptical at first.
Taking angles you never thought about, but that's amazing.
Yep, I was like, okay, you know, part of it, I was like, he's my age. Like, do I really want him sticking his finger in my booty?
Well, look.
I'm so mad at you.
Think about the others that were your age that you let up in there.
Hey. Facts. At least let someone who know what he's doing in there.
Right? I was so used to these old doctors. These old, like, women and male doctors. It was just kind of like, that's just what I'm used to. You know, you automatically feel like they're the ones that have more experience. But then I'm starting to realize, you know, but the younger, newer doctors are getting the more up-to-date information.
And they're doing continuing ed too.
Yeah, so
clearly,
you know, now I don't judge a doctor by their age, nor do I, which I totally understand when people are like, I want to find a black doctor, because I've seen that a lot on these Facebook pages I follow, like, I need a black doctor, blah blah blah. I'm like, that's great, but that's not going to be your solution. What you need to do is just find the best doctor.
Someone who's experienced what you're going through. Like, that's the thing. It doesn't matter the cultural background, really. Like, do they know what they're looking at?
They happen to be black.
Hey, yes, bonus.
Shout out to you.
Hey, we're not knocking anybody. Black doctors are amazing, but...
Yep, it's a matter of people, you know, not trusting because of things that have happened in the past.
Yeah.
But at this point, I'm like, I don't give a damn who it is, as long as they have some great ratings.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I'm getting the best care I can possibly get.
Yup.
Right. Remember that? Help me please. Help me please. That's exactly at this point where you was at in life.
Yes.
walking into the doctor's office like, look, I don't care who you are, where you came from. Can you please fix this?
And that's what I kind of wanted to tell some of these girls in these Facebook pages. Like, I'm not going to tell them what they should do or what they should feel like they want. But I kind of wanted to say, yo, like, there's a good doctor. He's not, that's what the girl said. She was like, I know a good doctor. He's not black, but he helped me have a baby. And that happened to be the same gynecologist I had. Like, y'all, don't miss out on these great doctors because you're looking for something so specific.
Message.
Exactly.
Message.
Look at these reviews. I look at reviews all this. Every time I pick a doctor, I look at the reviews.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
And not to say the doctors.
Have you done one?
Huh?
Have you done one for this doctor?
I'm going to.
A review?
I'm going to do one for both of them.
And honest, I would share it on the page too that you're on, because you've joined a lot of different pages. Mm-hmm. You're not basically endorsing them, but you are saying like, look, this is what my story is, and when I finally made it to them, they were able to come up with these solutions, and this is how it's helped me. Everybody's situation could be a little bit different, but if they never even knew that this doctor was an option for them, why not? Mm-hmm. Give it a try. What's the worst thing? The worst thing that can happen. So.
Yep. So, I'm on my journey, y'all.
Oh, well, it sounds like you can kind of see the light. You're not at the end of the tunnel yet, but at least you can see the light.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm just hoping like it doesn't come back after he removes it, because it can and it does. But I do also feel like, I do think it also depends on how good your doctor is, and he seems like he's that good that he would probably get he knows what to look for. From what I've seen from him, he knows exactly, because some doctors get confused and they miss it because endometriosis can come in different colors. Some of them are only looking for endometriosis, what is it called? Scarring, whatever the heck it's called. Patches, endometriosis patches. Some of them are only looking for it to be a certain color, but it seems like he can identify a variety and not miss stuff. So I'm super excited about him.
Well, could you find that video that he put out there for the endometriosis, kind of the lecture?
Yep.
We could kind of
I still have it.
Okay. We could put that on the shout outs, because it sounds like this is information a lot of folks could benefit from learning,
Definitely. Absolutely. It's a 2-hour video, and I watched the entire thing.
Dang. Well, especially if it resonates with you, like, oh shit, this is my life they're talking about right now.
And even just watching him do the surgeries, it's just crazy to see what it looks like on the inside. I'm just like, oh my gosh, it looks like he's just tearing through a bunch of stuff.
Oh Lord,
I didn't realize it was that graphic.
The tools they use, it looks like they're just burning through tissue and whatever else to get to. Like, there's something he's like talking about, there's some endometriosis there, I'm gonna remove that. It's really interesting, very interesting stuff. But
or even would you mind putting up some like the Facebook platforms or something, like, or
oh no, sure, I'll share those.
Okay, because I'm like, I just want people to know there's resources out there if this sounds like something they have to deal with as well,
Yeah, and I've seen some of those women on there too saying, oh, I think I might, like, I have an appointment with the doctor, but I don't have my appointment until whatever time, but I feel like this is what's going on with me. So they're like on the page trying to see what everyone else has to say and ask their questions. And a lot of people will tell you, yeah, it sounds like you have this, or those are the symptoms I had. So stuff like that is super helpful. Super, super helpful. So
I'm curious about the pelvic PT. Like, so excuse me, what does that kind of look like for you right now?
So starting out, I've done, she gave me some stretches starting out. So there's these stretches, which is a lot of like, some is like breathing exercises, some is kind of like stretches and stuff that I have to do every day, twice a day.
Like coochie stretches, or what kind of stretches we talking about?
No, they're like one I gotta lay on the floor and basically breathe in and expand my stomach, or breathe out while expanding my stomach, and then breathe in while bringing my stomach back in, like stuff like that.
Oh, okay, cool.
What else? It's very invasive, which they warn you about at the doctor's office before you go. They're like, it's extremely invasive. Just want to let you know that before, which it actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But they do have to touch, like, you know, in your vagina and feel around just a little bit for tension. In your anus to feel around for some tension. And she can feel, like, the areas where you have a lot of tension. And she's trying to, like, help with that. And I've gotten a lot of booty massages because I carry a lot of tension back there.
Like inside the booty or just on the outer side?
No, I'm not. Just on the outside. On the outside.
I mean, look, they already got their fingers in
right. I was just gonna say, like,
we learning just like
exactly. I'm just trying to understand the process. This is interesting.
Yeah, it's just like getting a massage on your butt, and then she'll do like inner thigh massages.
Ooh, that would drive me up the wall. I'm so tight there.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the bulk of what I've experienced so far. And yeah, I do have a lot of tension. Like, you know, every time I'm in pain, I get this like really bad pain in like my right glute, and I'm sitting here thinking like, is that my what do you call that nerve? My sciatica nerve. But that's not what it was, because I called the gynecologist and I was like, do I have sciatic endometriosis? Because that's a thing. He was like, that's not something very common at all. And he's like, I highly doubt that's what's going on.
That sounds like something that would debilitate you forever. Like being directly on the nerve. Ooh, that sounds awful.
But then after going to physical therapy, I started figuring out I tense up a lot back there. And so now I'm more aware of it. And when I feel myself doing it, I try to stop myself.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, before I started taking the birth control, I kind of started lessening the pain in my right glute by paying attention to when I'm tensing up.
Hey, body awareness. I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm like,
one with your butt.
Shut up, please.
I mean,
gotta be one with the whole thing.
One with the cheeks.
Yep.
It makes me wonder though, especially because having a office sit down job, how much of that plays into it? Like, do you need to have like a stand sit type of desk so that way you can give yourself some relief?
I have been sitting on a donut because sometimes it can sit, like for me, the sitting down, it's not as horrible for me as I've seen for other women. Like some women can't even sit down at all. Like they have to lay down. Mine, it's been uncomfortable to sit down, and in those moments I have to tell my supervisor, I'm not feeling really good, I need to log off for a couple hours and take a nap. So I'll usually take like an ibuprofen or something, take a nap, put some Bengay and whatever else on there, muscle relaxer of some sort, and take a nap and then wake up, and usually it feels better. And sitting on a heating pad too, and then of course the hot bath helps with that as well.
Yeah.
I
wonder if you should try to get the sit stand desk just to see if that'll help.
Girl, I seen one at IKEA the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, I could get a standing desk.
Shouts out to IKEA.
Yeah. So I might really consider that for real. It wasn't that bad either. I think it was like $400.
Was it electric?
So yeah, it had a button.
It better be.
Yeah, it had a button.
$400.
It had a button to raise it up and down.
Look.
Yeah,
don't take money bad clothes.
I for real will consider that, but yeah, I love.
Would your insurance cover that?
Huh?
Does insurance cover that type of stuff if it's something that's necessary to help?
I don't know. I'll have to check and see.
Do you have a FSA?
I'd look into it.
I have an HSA.
That might be applicable if it's
That's
required. Like get your doctor's note.
Find out. Because I was just talking about getting rid of the desk I have anyway, even though I just got it when I moved here. But I was like, man, this thing is already, I feel like, falling apart. The little wood chipping off and stuff. And My computer chair, no cushion whatsoever left, so I sit on the donut every day now.
Oh, damn.
I almost bought this other chair from IKEA. It was so comfortable. I'm going to probably go back and get it.
You know, you better go get it now, because a lot of stuff in IKEA don't be get there after a while.
Yeah, I'll probably get it after this next paycheck then, because that chair felt like heaven.
Oh.
It was, I think it was $250. Yeah, so. Yeah, y'all, that's what's been going on with me. I've been feeling happier and feeling like, you know, I'm getting some solutions. Feeling like I don't feel like crying anymore because I feel like I'm never going to get any answers.
That's a blessing. Yay.
Absolutely.
I'm so sad that touched my heart, though, when you're like, I don't feel like crying anymore. I'm like, oh, Chloe, I just want to hug you.
Yeah, I don't. It has made me very emotional. Like, I almost feel like having a conversation with these doctors, like, thank you so much for figuring out what's going on with me, but then I feel like I'm going to cry. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
It's okay to cry. Look, you ain't got to be a thug all the time.
Girl, but my thought was, I want to get something for my doctors. What is appropriate as a thank you?
Fruit basket.
Yep. Who don't like
edible arrangements? I love them. They got the best fruit. Man. That pineapple is sweet.
It is. I only like the white chocolate covered fruit though.
I don't think I've had them. I have a thing about fruit and like chocolate. I don't know if I like them together. I just am not a fan.
I love fruit and chocolate together.
Nah.
Yes.
Like cherry
especially
stuff,
strawberries.
No. Like the more I've tried.
Now, see, I don't eat cherries anyway.
Oh, I love me some cherries.
No. I just can't.
No, it's a texture thing for me.
No, I'm like, I like fruit separate and I like chocolate separate. Like yogurt, what is it, like froyo, that kind of stuff, and like the toppings don't mix to me. I don't like none of it. I would rather just get the froyo separate, not as chocolate, and be fine.
No, that's blasphemy.
I'm sorry. I'm blaspheming because that's not my life. I don't like it.
Blasphemy.
Well, call me a sinner. Shit. I'm sorry. It's just I don't subscribe to that church. I'm so sorry.
So didn't y'all mention y'all had some issues with birth control?
Yes.
Prolonged use of birth control?
I hate it. It is awful for me.
What is it done?
I have the two main things that happened with me. It was funny because I had prolonged use of birth control from like 17 because my cycle was so out of whack. Like I went from, I would have 1 full month of bleeding and then I would have no period for 9 months. And I was not pregnant also at the same time. So yeah, before anybody tries to come at me with that, no, I was not pregnant.
I mean, you said 9 months.
I know. It was funny because I was like, of course it's 9 months, but no, I just had a really irregular period. And of course they were like, well, we need to get you more regular. They prescribed me, I can't even remember what the first birth control was. And it was fine for 17 to like 20, maybe 21. I'm not sure how long I was on it. That was fine. But then when I tried to get back on it, that's when the shit made me crazy. I legitimately saw red off the stupidest shit. Like, I can't even remember what it was. But one day I literally almost like hurt somebody. And it was something stupid like putting the wrong thing in the dishwasher. It was so out of control. I was like, oh, I'm gonna kill someone? I am not. I had to let that shit go. And then I tried the NuvaRing. That shit made me bleed so heavy.
Ooh.
Like,
I recently heard that's killed women.
Has it? Oh, I believe it. Because nah, bitch, I was bleeding hard. And the progesterone shot, the Depo-Provera or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It worked for me, the first 2 go-arounds, and it lasted, 3 months? And I think it was in the middle of my second go-around when I started just having the breakthrough bleeding, and just kept bleeding, and I never stopped. So, like, I tried it one more time. It was, like, the 3rd round, and I bled the entire time. So I was like, wow. Well, that's fucking useless. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
How long was that?
I think altogether it turned out to be, like, a little less than a year.
That you were bleeding?
Well, altogether, I would say it was at least a good 4 or 5 months that it was like, and it was not heavy, but it was enough to piss you off. It was enough to ruin the shit. It was enough to fuck up the nice panties because you thought you were done. Mm-hmm. Pissed off. Like, God, I can't even feel sexy. This is bullshit. And I was sensitive as hell. Like, sex was not fun either while I was on that. So, yeah, I can't do birth control anymore. Makes me upset.
That was my experience. I was on Depo from, 18? Off and on since I was 18 years old. And that started for me in 2018 because it was right before I had met one of my exes. And I literally had bled for like 4 or 5 months straight. Mm-hmm. And exactly how you said, Dre, when you be like, it was just enough to piss you off, or you be like, oh, I don't need a pad, I can just do a liner. Mm-hmm. And then you realize, like, oh, them Toma draws. For real. Like, because you didn't have the right protection. Mm-hmm. But literally, it was a daily thing. It was absolutely horrible. And kind of like how you said, Drea, Chloe, with your experience of having to switch doctors, because the family doctor that I had been going to for forever, it was just kind of like brushing off the issue, like, oh, it's just because of the birth control shot. I'm like, this is not normal for somebody to be bleeding this long. Mm-hmm. Like, something has to be going on. And I ended up, it was that moment I got tired of that doctor, so I went ahead and looked for another, which I believe my gyno is at the same place that the old man that you found out in the Springs. Yeah, mm-hmm. It was the same doctor's office, and I absolutely loved her. She was real hippie-like, but literally the sweetest woman that you could ever meet. And she actually ran several different tests, did different ultrasounds, because she was trying to figure out exactly what was happening to why I had been bleeding for so long. And because even with that, you know how it is, you continuously have all that moisture, I kept getting BV. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, look, I'm not out here wilding with nobody, nothing, because you feel embarrassed that every day this is happening to you. You don't want to be, try to be sexually active with anybody, nothing, because you are embarrassed by the fact that I don't know what the heck is going on. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, she is the one that figured out literally my estrogen levels, because I had been off and on birth control for so long that my estrogen levels were literally depleted. Mm. And it was basically like, my body not knowing that it needed to turn itself off, like the period needing to turn itself off. And so it was just a continuous cycle, like literally having a period for 4 or 5 months is exactly what was happening. So she just basically did estrogen therapy for me, where I was having to take a certain pill dosage each day, and I was taking the dosage of what women who are going through menopause take.
Wow.
To help build my levels back up. And I had to do that for 30 days. But I started to notice that it was helping, because it went from being like the heavy flow, then down to like spotting. Then it was truly just like a maybe like once out of the week type of thing, to where it finally stopped. And then she kept me for a year. She put me on a birth control pill, so stopped doing the Depo. Birth control pill at this point, but it was a birth control pill that had a high dosage of estrogen in it, so that way my levels wouldn't get depleted again. But a year being on that, and that cycle started over again, of where I was bleeding for like 3 months straight. And so she was like, at this point, I feel like you just need to listen to your body. Like, clearly, if you wanted me to try something different, try a different birth control, because she had did another ultrasound and making sure that I didn't have anything else internally going on. None of that was happening. So he's like, at this point, I just feel like you need to listen to your body and no more being on birth control. And you know what? She was right, because I got off of birth control, and within a couple of weeks of no longer taking that birth control, my body started regulating itself, and I literally have been fine ever since. My periods usually be like 3 to 4 days. Okay. Though I do still get cramps, like on the first like day or two. But once that's done, it's like it's literally normal. And I know there are some women that have longer periods than what I experience. And I don't have heavy bleeding every day. It's usually like that first maybe day or two. Sometimes not even that. But yeah, man, it's been night and day of where I used to be with my periods and everything compared to where I'm at now. I don't have any issues, and it literally has been like clockwork. I know exactly when to expect my period. It comes on time, no issues. So I'm one of those where I'm like, you will not catch me being on any form of birth control. Whenever I finally have a child, look, y'all, go ahead and take it all out once that baby, once I can finally have my kids, go ahead and take it all out. I'm perfectly fine at that point, for them to do whatever they need to, because won't be no birth control for me.
Yeah, I don't care for it myself anymore. Man, the things women go through.
Right? And men don't go through nothing. I need them to have something.
They are.
Each
there
month.
Is, so I saw that they're coming out with, they're trying to get this male version of birth control FDA approved. I saw
Yes, I saw that recently.
I did see
I was
that. I did
let
see
them
that.
bitches do it. Let them bitches do it.
They need it.
But
ones that are, it's okay for them to be oh so promiscuous, so they need to be the ones on birth control.
That should be their responsibility. Absolutely.
Seriously.
Well, look, I hope it make their balls hurt or something, because they need something.
Gain weight,
girl,
get a little
if that happens, they don't take it.
That is true. But look, these men kill me with, they don't understand. And what's funny to me is I love seeing those videos when it's the little period cramp simulators.
Oh yeah.
Where you can put the men can put the little pads and stuff on, and it has the different levels. Yeah, I feel like that should be mandatory for men to have to go through so they can understand.
And those childbirth ones.
Yes, that is great.
Yeah, that one too. Because I don't want you touching me. I don't want you to talk to me about what that mouth do. Ready to cuss you out. That's what it do. Ready to cuss you out. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Okay.
I love that song.
Yes, Chloe.
Thought that was very appropriate.
Okay, it definitely was.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, but what else do women go through though?
Everything.
We go through a lot when it pertains to our bodies, not just physically, but what we must endure from outsiders.
Yeah, the whole thing about everybody has an opinion on your body, and it's not okay. I don't like that shit.
And not at all.
I'm thinking, y'all, about to wrap it up, but do you have any final thoughts, Chloe, that you want to share with the people?
Yes, I want you all to please advocate for your own health.
Amen.
Don't ignore your health issues. Don't settle for any doctor telling you there's nothing wrong with you, because you know your body and you know when something's wrong with you. And also, I'm going to say this, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I do want to get to a point where I am active in making some change, and I would really love if I could get to a point where I'm advocating to make endometriosis a disability, because it really should be considered a disability.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Oh, well, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Mm-hmm. Of course. For the women.
And keep sharing this journey.
For the women.
Right. For the peoples with ovaries and uteruses. You know?
I cannot with you. And a little bounce.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to keep it all inclusive because, you know, there's people who do not identify as women who have ovaries. Just saying. This might affect them as well. Oh. But I did have a little bounce with it.
But,
damn.
No, I'm sorry. I don't want to make it seem like it's exclusive to women because I did recently learn from the Endometriosis Facebook page that there are 8 known cases of men having endometriosis.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
Me neither.
Not that I knew a lot about what was talked about today anyway, but damn, I definitely didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, I bet if it affected a lot more men, they'd do something about it.
Oh, absolutely. It would absolutely be a thing. Look how quick Viagra got approved.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. It's a thing. But, neither here nor there.
Well,
I am very thankful.
We want to thank y'all for joining us in the ladies' room.
Yes, join us again next time. We're going to get a schedule for y'all eventually. I apologize. This last time we haven't put out something is my fault. You know, life happened a little bit. Taxes, things of that nature. You know.
Okay, look, we don't want the IRS.
Hell no, that's the one person I ain't needing checking for me. Thank you. And I do my taxes every year.
We don't fool with the government.
Right.
Okay.
They do not let up. Mm-hmm.
Well,
do your taxes.
That's why y'all need to go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Yes. Hit that little notification bell. That way, whether we on schedule or not, you can get these notifications for when the next episode drops. Come on now.
CoCo Combos Pie.
And follow us. Okay, on all platforms. You know what I'm saying? Come on now.
The CO.
Yeah.
I'm just going to keep saying that. I don't care. It's the CO. It don't make no sense.
Ew.
I'm sorry.
I cannot with the outro.
I love you.
Oh, it came up to me uncontrollably.